My favourite dishes. We start off very easily with about 50 grams of butter melted over a heat, and then one large onion, finely chopped. And the thing about onion is to make sure that we cook it just enough, not for too little time. So we stir fry it until it goes clear. So this is not a part that you should hurry. Take your time over this. Make sure that the onion is nicely cooked. This is quite a dark dish when it's finished, and so I would recommend you serve it with something like a green salad and either some brown Hamali rice, Thai Hamali rice, but brown is better. Or maybe some chapatis if you feel adventurous, or you can buy some from the store. Alternatively, you can always have it with rice and something like broccoli, which has quite a strong flavour to match the strong flavour that this dish creates. Just let that fry a little bit. It's a very, very simple dish to cook. Very easy to cook. I'm going to be using pork tenderloin, but you can use pork steak, any pork steak. But with pork tenderloin I reduce the cooking time. So when I get to the final cooking time, I will only cook for a shorter time. If you're using pork steak, you need to increase that to make sure that the pork becomes nice and tender. Just leave that to fry a little bit. I think the onions are about ready now, so I add one rounded teaspoonful of garlic powder. And add all the spices. One rounded teaspoon of garam masala. One rounded teaspoon of cinnamon, one rounded teaspoon of chili powder.
I can smell it.
And one rounded teaspoon of garlic powder. It's very important to keep stirring at this moment in time to stop the spices from burning the bottom of the pan. So just give them a little bit of time to flavour the onion. Okay, now I'm going to add 400 grams of tinned chopped plum tomatoes. I like plum tomatoes best for this kind of food. Alternatively, you can have the equivalent in skinned fresh tomatoes. Okay. In, you stir fry over reasonably low heat, or medium heat, for about 5 minutes until it starts to dry a little bit, because we're going to add some water in a moment. We'll just leave that for another couple of minutes. Now we've now reached the point where the oil, you can see, is starting to separate from the mix. So now's the time to add the other ingredients. I like to add the pork at this stage. So I'm adding here 400 grams of, as I said, tenderloin pork, 400 grams, cube, not too small. So that it's about the same as the pineapple that we're using right now. So I'm going to add some pineapple slices, which I've cut into cubes and with their juice as well. It's about 300 grams, 250 grams. Don't overdo the pineapple, otherwise you end up with a too fruity a flavour. And also salt, which is about half a teaspoon. Again, to taste, if you like a lot of salt, but or little salt, depending on your preference. And then lastly, the last thing to add is about 150 milliliters of water. Just put the rest of it in. There we go. Right, so what we're doing now is just having added the water, bring it up to boiling temperature slowly. Now that you've got it up to boiling, I'm going to cover and reduce the heat just so that we get a nice simmer. And you need to leave it to cook, given that it's pork tenderloin, probably for about 40 minutes, no more. If you're using a different kind of pork, like pork steak, maybe an hour and a quarter. You can see, just to check, to give it a quick stir, just to make sure that the flavours are evenly distributed. Then put the lid back on again. Leave it 2 minutes, so I think by now we'll find that the pork is nicely cooked, which it is. Just give it a little squeeze against the side. Yeah, it's nice and soft. So that's it. Pork and pineapple, very simple and very tasty.